I supposed to keep on feeding you? Kill people?
I make it worth your while.
What?
You think this is all coincidence, baby? The sudden success around here. The press coverage?
Look, you're a plant, an inanimate object.
Does this look inanimate to you, punk? If I can...
What's going on, guys? Rogue TCG here, bringing you another Master Duel deck profile. This one's going to be a budget deck profile. There are cards in here that you can cut to make it budget, but overall the amount of URs needed comparative to more expensive builds is less. This is branded Predaplant, 60 cards, because I am addicted to 60 cards. I can't not play 60 cards. I like seeing all my favorite cards in all the same deck, and I like playing all of them. This is branded Predaplants. There is some shit-alls thrown in here just to have a little bit of added flexibility. We don't have access to brand diffusion because that engine is very expensive for Dust. We do have shit-alls, and shit-alls have their own fusion card that's like branded fusion, but worse. But this deck is like an incremental advantage deck where you just kind of hope to get your opponents out of the game via the Predaplants. Very good at breaking boards and pretty okay at going second. This deck would be better if you had expensive branded stuff if you had to go second, but this deck still can hold its own. That's enough yapping though. Now onto the deck. We are running double Despian Tragedy. If this card is sent to the grave by a card effect or banished by a card effect, add a Despia monster. It's all you need to read, but you can also add a branded spell trap in grave by banishing it. Except for you can only use each one effect per turn. So you're mostly going to be using the search, and then maybe you're going to be using the set. So, for example, like a branded in red or an opening. But we are running 2 of that because we are on that grass, so we do want to mill it. We are run triple Predaplant Abyss Slip. When it's sent to the graveyard, you can add a Predaplant monster from deck to hand. That's pretty much all we need to read. Very good card, goes very well with Romarine, which is part of our shit-all package. But also, if there is a Predator counter anywhere on the board, you can special this from your grave, but banish it when it leaves the field. It's a free body for Poly sometimes. There are better things you want to be doing with the counters, but getting a free body out of it ain't too bad. The Master Duel special, we're running 2 Maxi because that's all I could find to fit in here, because I wanted to make the fusion aspect a little bit more consistent, so I did cut back on the Maxi. Probably not a great idea. Maybe cut a beast for another Maxi, but I'm not gonna. Triple Chlamydia. Monsters with Predator counters can be treated as dark, and this guy is basically super poly on your board, except they can respond to it. But it is normal poly. You can use stuff from your hand as well, I believe. Yeah, you can use your hand. So this is just another poly. So we're running 3 of it. This can also take our opponent's monsters. It's just generally good. 1 hedgehog to search our stuff. I'm not really going to explain the shit all stuff a little bit, not too much, just a very basic overview on that stuff. Orphis Scorpio, a lot of people know this one. Normal or special, send a monster from hand to grave. Works well with Bislip, not as well as Tragedy because I believe it is cost. Special Predaplant from your deck, always going to be, well, pretty much always going to be Cobra. If you've milled it or you want to fuse, you can get Sundew as well because it negates effects. You can use it once per turn. The Cobra that I have just mentioned, when it is special summoned by the effect of a Predaplant, add a Poly or a Fusion spell card. Maybe you want to invest in a Super Poly. Here's where you do that. Otherwise, you're adding Poly or Shit-all Fusion. Wendy, specials 1 from deck, face down, a Shit-all. Pretty much always need to grab Beast if you haven't already milled it, so you can flip it up, maybe draw 2. So like a Hedgehog or something. It just gets extra bodies on board that you can use to fuse away and still get their grave effects. Double Squamata. If this one's milled, you mill one of your choice. And if it's flipped, you pop a thing. This, if you flipped, you bounce a thing. And when this one's sent to the graveyard, maybe you want to switch the Squamata Dragon, because Dragon does come up quite frequently, or pops a spell trap on field. If you're dealing with an onboard Floodgate, get rid of it. This is a graveyard effect, unless they're running like Necro Valley plus Dweller, I guess. Double Edge of Chain. We don't need to run 3 in this deck because we have a lot of cards, and we're not really too concerned about drawing it. Double Fairy, not double, 1 Fairy Tale Snow. It's a light that you can send off Shit-all Fusion. You can just mill it with the grass, you know, there's a lot of good cards. Romarine, the main light you want to be sending off Shit-all Fusion. When this is sent to the grave, you can mill a plant. That's pretty much it. So this translate, when this is sent to grave, you can send a buy slip, and then Add any Predaplant monster from your hand, from your deck to your hand. Double Lubrix, that's all we can play. Main search target is this is Poly number 2, Despia Theater of the Branded. Has a really good float effect that Branded typically doesn't get to experience because a lot of the time they just banish this shit off Mirror Jade, so it's gone forever. But in this deck, you're very frequently using the graveyard effect to just keep negating stuff when your stuff gets removed. Double Beast, flip, draw 2, discard 1, send to grave, draw 1. All I'm saying is draw 1, but this card is very good. Since we're running 60, we can run multiple, not pronouncing that, Hydra. This one is a Kaiju from Graveyard for stuff with Predator counters. Also, it has a Graveyard and Field effect that is very irrelevant, but it is relevant in the right cases. If you're about to die and you need to live by 400, they got exact on you? No, they don't. No. You can activate this in the damage step, and you can lower face-up monsters' attack by 500. I believe this is a permanent loss of attack, so you can just keep draining it when it's in the grave by banishing another Predaplant from your grave. Just a very good card. A very, very good card. Barksoger. Special summon this by tributing opponent's monster with a Predator counter. This one's from hand. If this guy leaves the field to the graveyard, this guy puts a Predator counter on everything your opponent controls. And if you haven't played this deck, that's a very good thing to do. So you're very frequently just using this guy off. You can maybe summon this guy off Scorpio, just to use him off if you already have Sundew. Double Dramaturge. This guy is Interaction. Interaction means a lot in this deck because a lot of our fusions don't really interact except for exactly Dragostapelia and the big one. So stuff we can do on turn 1 is very good. This guy special summons himself if he's used as fusion material, and if an effect monster is on the field and a fusion synchro Xyz or link is conducted, you can negate a card on the field. Very good. Stops Halka Fibrax if that card was legal. Ad libitum. When this guy's on field effect, completely irrelevant. If it's sent to the graveyard or banished, target a Despia or level 8 or higher fusion monster. That's relevant. Special summon it. Recursion when used as fusion material. We're only playing 1 because we can recur the recursion. Now the cool cards. Frog and Mantis. These guys do the whole combo by themselves, at least the Predaplant portion if we're not playing Branded. If this card's sent to the grave or added to the extra deck, add a different guy from your extra deck to your hand. It's always going to be Mantis since you're not playing any other ones. And in this scale, main phase, fusion summon a Dark Fusion from your extra using cards from hand or field. It's Poly, whoa. And then we have Mantis. If this is sent to the grave for face up extra, put a Predator counter as many monsters on the field equal to the amount of monsters you control. You control 3, put 3. You control 1, put 1. Putting any is good. Very good card. Frequently, also when this is in scale, your scale is going to be used as fusion material. Very powerful effect. You scale this, you fuse. And you just get the whole ball rolling because you immediately get this guy back off of this guy. And then you put a Predator counter on something. Pretty neat. Works very well with the fusion monster we'll be going over in a little bit. Triple Poly. We fuse, we fuse, we fuse. We need to fuse. Triple Shaddoll Fusion. We have enough Shadolls in order to play 3. We can recur it with our Shadolls. Good card. Grass looks greener. You have more cards than your opponent. You say, not all. And you mill all the cards until you equal. If they're playing 60 cards, well then their grass is also off. So that's a cold comfort. Triple Patchwork. This is Ash Bait. If you see Patrick as the first play of the turn, they either have Pride of Practice, the card we're going to remember next, Grass, or Shaddoll Fusion. You have an extra deck monster and you're going to look real silly. Yeah, adds Edge Imp, adds a Poly. So it starts to get your whole engine going as long as you have another monster in hand. Predator Practice. Special summon a Predaplant from your hand. Then add a Predap from your deck to your hand, except for it. And for the rest of the turn, you can't set special except for fusions. Oh no, look at our extra. Oh no. Very good card. Adds any Predap card except for itself. We do have 2 other targets that are not monsters, which is very useful. Just a good card. And it can add from the... No, the other one adds from the grave. We got Predator Pruning. It is Premature Burial, except no life point cost. So if we can get back a poly from our graveyard after your opponent popped it before we can even activate it, might as well. This can also get back all your fusions, which is very nice. Despia, Theater of the Branded. It is poly 2. During your main phase, you can fusion summon a level 8 or higher fusion, so you can't fusion summon the small stuff like Winda, Mudragon, Ambula Melodies, Garua, but you can fuse everything else. So you can fuse enough with this, and also it's Recursion. Face up non-fusion fairy monster your opponent you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect or destroy a battle. Trigger level 8 or higher fusion monster in your grave, special summon it, which goes very well with Aluber's floating effect, just to get the same guy right back. Double Called By. We might not be playing hand traps, but we do not want to be receiving them. Double Branded Opening. We're playing Aluber. We play cards that like to go to grave. We're going to play Branded Opening. Branded in Red. Poly 3. This is a quick poly on our opponent's turn. You're very frequently making like a Masquerade or Dragostapelia or Guardian Chimera with this. But, yeah, no complaints here, really. And the card that kills certain decks into the sun, Predaplanting. Fun fact with Predator counters, any monster with a Predator counter on it, its level is 1 now. So, Sword Soul, whenever you're having trouble with Sword Soul, make them all level 1. What are they going to make? Formula Synchron? Are they playing Formula Synchron? So yeah, this sends a Predaplant from deck to grave for cost. Then you get to place a counter on everything. And if you can fusion summon a dark monster, this is a dark fusion, well, a dark pool. If you fusion summon a dark monster while this is in the grave, you banish it, pop a card. Very useful. That's going to be it for the main board. Now on to the sideboard. Mudragon of the Swamp, because we are fusing with our opponent's stuff. They're going to be the same attribute, different types for Sundew. We got El Shadal Winda, because we are playing a Shadal Fusion. We're playing a lot of Darks, something we can do going first. We can very easily add it just by using it as fusion material to get that Shadal Fusion right back. Ambula Melodies. This card made Predaplant somewhat playable. It needs 2 Predaplants, so it's not very easy to make using Despias and stuff like that. But if this card's fusion summon, you can add a Predaplant monster or Predup from your deck, grave, or face-up extra deck to your hand. And that's crazy on summon. It adds anything from anywhere functionally, except for banish. And Ignition, you can target a monster your opponent controls with a Predator counter on it. Oh, that's where we'll put it on those things. Or a monster you control if you're going first. Tribute it, and if you do special Predaplant from your deck. Whoa! Hey, Predaplant, Darling Toady and Cobra. That's crazy. I was just thinking about you. Oh, hey, Sundew. Oh, yo, I was thinking about you too. Yeah, this card is very powerful. We're playing 2 because we do want to be doing it multiple times. And now on to Garua. Garua is a card that we can summon, and then if we want to draw a card, we can take it off. There's a lot of damage on board. Good card. El Shadal Construct. Must be fusion summoned. If it's summoned, you get a mill card, or get a dump a card. Start with the damage step. If this battles a special monster, destroy it. If this card's sent to the grave, target a Shadal spell trap, add it to your hand. Very self-explanatory. Good card. Been a very good card. It was on the ban list for a while, but good card. Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. Now on to the Starving Venom stuff, except for we're gonna actually get back into them a little bit later. This is the only one over here. 2 darks, fuse, gain attack, and then yeah, it becomes like the name and the effect of a monster and stuff. And if it's destroyed, you can destroy all opponent special summon monsters. It's a nuke when it blows up. Dragostapelia, the best card in the deck, in the extra deck for interaction with our opponents, especially with Predaplanting. Once per turn, put a Predator counter on something on Quickie. And negate the activated effects of your opponent's monsters that have Predator counters on them, or Predator counters, period. This turns Predaplanting into, I'm going to negate all your monsters right now. And yeah, this card's just really powerful comparative to all the other Predator counter stuff in the deck. Next, Masquerade, the Tax Dragon. Pay your taxes. It's just a good card that goes with the Despia stuff and use any light or dark, snow, romarine, any of those stuff. We got Trivertum, 3 darks on the field. What makes us accomplish that? Sundew and Mantis. Turn your opponent's stuff into dark. Use multiple of the materials. Hell yeah. This one's a solemn warning, I believe. If your opponent special summons the monster from your extra while you control the summon card, quick effect negate the summon if you do destroy that monster. And if your opponent controls a monster with a predator counter on it, you can special this card from your grave. Main thing, this is the OTK machine. Gains attack equal to the total original attack of all other monsters on the field with a predator counter. I stopped full sentence because that card's crazy good because we can put predator counters on our own cards. Which means this guy is going to get stupid large real quick with Mantis. Mantis solves a lot of issues of this deck. Guardian Chimera must first be fusion summoned, only using stuff from your hand and field. At least one monster from each. If this, guess what can accomplish that? Sundew using your opponents. However, you won't get the effect because it's not a spell. If this card is fusion summoned by a spell card effect, you can draw cards equal to the number of stuff from your hand and pop cards equal to the number of stuff on your field. And if there's a poly, your opponent can't target it. Good card. Very good card. Yeah, not much else to say. Works really good with Branded in Red, Despia, Theater the Branded, Poly. Good card. Greedy Venom Fusion Dragon. This is a card that you play if you don't have enough ultra rare dust. Predaplant and 1 dark monster whose original level is 8 or higher must first be fusion summoned once per turn. Target face a monster on the field until end of turn. Change it among target's attack to 0. Its effect's negated. If this card is destroyed and sent to the grave, destroys many monsters on the field as possible. Then banish a level 8 or higher dark from your grave and special summon this card. It recards itself. It can change monsters to 0 for your Trivertum to just dome smack them. It's an alright card. Starving Venom, Predapower Fusion Dragon. Mouthful. Always treat it as a Predaplant because it's called a Predapower, so you can still bring it back with Predapruning. Once per turn, when a card effect is activated, tribute a monster from either field with a Predator counter, and if you do, negate the activation. This fusion summon, if this fusion summon card you control is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card, you can target a dark in your grave, special summon it. You can only use this effective Starving Venom, Predapower Fusion Dragon once per turn. This resets the negate if you bring itself back, because it will be in the grave when it activates that effect. And tripping your opponent's monsters to negate their own cards sounds really good. So this card is a fun inclusion, but not necessarily a mandatory one. Lastly, Despian Proskinian. This is a budget pick. Despia plus a light plus a dark. Not impossible to make because we are running Romarine Snow. We are running Despias and we're running way enough darks. So we can make it with Construct, which is nice with Shaddoll Fusion. So it's not impossible to make, but it's not really realistic, let's say, because we have better cards that take similar effort to make. Start Predapower Fusion Dragon. But that is the list. Thank you guys for listening to all around 17-ish minutes of my rambling about a deck that I like, but is not very good, unfortunately. I wish it was better, but it's not, which is unfortunate. But thank you guys so much for listening to my ramblings, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.